Roll that beautiful bean footage. What up, boys? It's your boy, Chorizo. I got a question from someone today. He said, Noah, I kind of have a website, but I'm not collecting emails. Should I start an email list? And the answer is yes. Hell yes. So it was actually Brandon who helps make a lot of these videos. He's like, well, do I need to do it now or should I do it later? And the way that I would recommend it is immediately start it now. So for anyone out there that is ever thinking about speaking or starting a product or starting a book or starting a company or quitting your job and saying fuck you to your boss, if you have an audience or if you have attention of people that have trust with you, then you can do whatever you want in the future. So what I would recommend for Brandon is throw on sumo.com. It's totally free. Start capturing email addresses and actually just start communicating with them. You don't even need an email provider like MailChimp or any of these guys. You don't even need that. Just send them an email from Gmail and just start communicating things that are going on with you. And what I found about this is that if I ever want to do anything in the future, I've already been planting my seed. I planted the seed, and then I watered it, and then I tended it, and now I have marijuana I can smoke all day long. Just kidding, now don't smoke weed, don't do drugs. Point being though is that if you're thinking about doing an email list, just start it, right? So think of it like insurance. No matter what, it's something that you can always use later. But if you want to even get better than that, as I just said, just start communicating with them. And then if you ever have something in the future, if Brandon ever wants to start his own YouTube, if he ever wants to sell services to more people, if he ever wants to start selling physical products, maybe cameras or something like that, that he created or thought of in the shower, now he has an audience of people. Let's compare that to the other way. The other way is Brandon keeps doing contract work with Noah and he's making great money. Or he goes out and he gets projects here and there, but nothing's consistent. And one day he says, I'd really like to grow my freelancer business from 25K to 100K a year. How do I start? Right? And he has to actually go out. It's kind of like the hunter mentality. Now he has to go out and pull the spear or whatever fucking things people do back in the days to go find his meat to eat. But compare that to the farmer mentality, which is to start your email list today, no matter what you're going to be doing. He's actually been working on it, growing it, so if he ever has ambitions, and Brandon does have ambitions, he already has that asset available to him. So if it's something that you've been thinking about doing, if it's something that you're not really doing well, throw on sumo.com or just start with Gmail, even if you want to be super simple, and start communicating with people, building up that audience. So when you want to have a really nice feast, a really nice Hanukkah dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, whatever you want to do, you have it available to you. But as Brandon's saying, Brandon, what's the question? What should I email people, right? No one ever wakes up in the morning and says, yes, I got more emails, even though I think secretly a few of you naughty ones do. But what the hell do you email your people? Here's the exact thing you do. You don't email them anything. Well, Noah, how do I figure out what to email them? You ask them what they want to learn about a specific thing. If I said for you tonight, hey, what do you want for dinner? That's kind of a tough question. But if I said, hey, do you want Mexican or Japanese? You're like, oh, well, obviously Mexican. Actually, Mexican-Japanese fusion. I fucking hate those people that come up with that answer. Point being though is if you're not sure what to do, so what I would recommend is Brandon starts collecting emails, and you could do it instantly today. Just throw on sumo.com or whatever type of service you want to use, and email every person who joins and says, what did you want to learn about photography? Or what made you interested in joining my newsletter? Or what were you hoping to learn? And they will literally tell you what they want to learn. Here's a tip. A lot of the videos that I make from here is because when people join okdork.com, I say, what is one thing I can write about that would make your day great? And literally you give me the topics that I make videos out of. Like the balding one was because someone said, hey, why are you always wearing a hat? Or some of the videos today, it's like, Noah, how do I get people to do what I want? That's why we made a whiffed video. So think about just asking your audience as they're joining. They'll tell you what you want to write about. And then eventually you just start figuring out things that you're excited to share with the world. And that's when it gets beautiful. So the second part of this that Brandon's asking about is like, people are always asking me like how to get pointing ears or like, how do I start a business? And it's something that, as Brandon was saying, like, I don't want to write about it. So you have to stay true to yourself. And I think that's really the key important thing. You have to balance, right? So let me give you an example. If you want to write about how to grow a business and no one wants to hear about it, you may need to evaluate if that's the topic you should be writing about, because there's this balance between what the market wants versus what you want. Because you can go do all day long what you want, and if no one else wants it, it's not going to be a business, you're not going to grow, it's not going to work. So you have to balance that with, like, if you're doing what you want and they like it, just keep doing that. If you're doing what you want and no one's paying attention, then you got to figure out where is that common ground. So for me, I don't like talking about starting a business. What I am interested in is like, how do people grow their businesses? How do you go from that 6 to 7 figure, or 7 to 8, or 8 to 9, or how does Jeff Bezos run Amazon? But there's a lot more people that are interested in starting. That's just a larger audience. So I try to figure out where is that medium. And that medium for me is talking about productivity, because guess what? Everyone likes productivity tips. Secondly, it's talking about marketing. If you're starting a business or growing a business, you're gonna need marketing. And then I throw in balances of, I like to do the large ones because I think that's what's interesting for me. And then once in a while, I'll do the small ones because I know there's larger audiences and that's what a lot of people want. So go out and explore. And what you'll do is that after you've done maybe 6 months of work of writing or video or podcast or whatever it is, just go back and actually reflect what people are really responding to. So for my podcast, so Noah Kagan Presents, people want to see more business tips. When I've done SEO case study with Brian Dean, or how to grow a business, or how someone started their business, those are significantly, like if you look at my downloads, it's like those are the ones that have the significant amount of downloads versus other ones. But the other ones are just as interesting for me. And so I have to say, all right, well, let me keep doing those business tip ones because that's what's going to get me downloads, with also ones that'll get me my own personal fulfillment. There's a theory called the sex cash theory. Have you ever heard this? So the sex cash theory, and why it's so powerful, it was come up with, I think, by Bob someone about 20 years ago. And it's why actors do indie films. And so it was, if you think about Leonardo DiCaprio, he did Titanic. He probably made 100 million, right? So he makes a bunch of money doing that. But then why the hell does he go do What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Right? Because he wants to win an Oscar and he wants to have sex, because then that gets you the sex, right? Oh, he's so creative. He's so daring. So think about that as you're doing your own marketing, as you're creating your own emails. There's going to be some that are going to get you a lot of money, a lot of the attention, and then there's going to be your creative stuff that you just want to explore, and that's probably where your growth is going to come from, the riskier stuff that's not as popular necessarily right away. So those are suggestions, I think, for figuring out what to write and how to write your emails.